Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do Bêlit and Valeria, issue number 2 by Blameless Comics. I have major issues with this book. Where to begin? So if you know what's going on, check out my first review of this series, and then we're going to dive in. So it's made by Max Bemis, he's the writer, and artist Rodney Buchemi, colors Denny Ribeiro and Taylor Esposito. Probably butchered something. So the gripes that I have in the first book is the same as I have in this book, and it's not going to change probably in the third book and the fourth book and the fifth book. The problem is, the biggest problem is not the art, because the art is stunning, it's beautiful, it's really well done. Props to the colors as well. It's the writing. Let's say, let me rephrase that. The writing is not that bad at all. It's the amount of words putting on screen to tell a story that is not really necessary to tell. Okay, so Valeria, let's say Bêlit was dead. She's been woken up in the water. She wants to know who did it, and why. Okay, that's her goal, right? So we see this wizard here in this kingdom. I don't know, somehow he had enough of it, and he's just, using his powers, killing everyone and grabbing power. And he's now, boasting how good he is, how awesome he is. And he says that once in a while, once in the 3 moons, they're gonna celebrate, he and his wizard companions. And there's a lot of debauchery and nudity stuff. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a good idea to show you this, but this is probably the only thing that I'm going to show you, because this book is chock full with tatas and nudity. So beware, if you are sensitive to nudity, probably do not watch this video, or maybe parts of it. I only going to show you this particular scene. I try to avoid the rest of the nudity here, because YouTube does not like that, and I want to, make more videos, if you know what I mean, in the near future. Anyway, so we have some orgies here, and this guy is, like I said, bragging, boasting, and all these wizards here are indulging, skipping immediately, and then we go back for what's happened in the first book. Can you see what's on screen? I want to read the pictures, but I've been bombarded with text, and that's the thing that we're going to talk about the most. So, all right, so this was the bad guy. Now he's, said, okay, well, you beat my master, and I want to go with you, because plundering and pillaging and debauchery and all that stuff. So this wizard that was part of the first book is now his hand is now being chopped off. Why? Because of some wizardry, and he has a ring off that he cannot take it off. So it seems that he was in thrall or by this guy, and therefore chopping off his hand, he is now in thrall of Valeria, I guess. It's not really clear, right? So Bêlit says, hey, I want to know want to have information who resurrected me. So this wizard here says, hey, I know some necromancers. I'm going to lead you there. That's the short version. The very, very short version. So he's going to this place here, and he says Alakazam, and says, hey, this is the place where you need to find those guys. And she says, hey, I don't see shit, right? And you need to do better. I need to grind my teeth. So then he talks more and more and more and more, using Shazam, and then, this location is now seen by everyone. And some jokes here and there, some things land, someone lands something, some mostly not. And then we see this. So more debauchery, because it seems that because of this hedonism that's going on in this tent, they are going at each other. It seems they like each other a lot, but there is a catch, right? But then before they do that, this whole word salad here has been written by this poet that's going with Bêlit, and then he's been interrupted by this barbarian. He's also a Cimmerian. And as you know, Cimmerians are mostly hot-tempered, deadly creatures, right? Like Conan. And this guy says, "Hey, yeah, what are you doing?" And I see that you have a boner because you are writing stuff about Bêlit and Valeria. And he says, "No, no, and how dare you," and all that stuff. And how this is my magnus opus. And then he says, "I cannot read." And then they are feeling bad for each other, and they are apologizing to each other. What? Why? Why you are apologizing? You're a barbarian, right? But there's some, bros and guys here are being emasculated in modern comics, even though this is set in Hyperborea, where masculinity is normally at its peak, right? And then it seems that the crowd is watching and they are getting heated, but then it seems that they are changing the game because these have two egos and they have to let it all out, if you know what I mean. And the crowd goes wild. Like I said, the art, the details, really, really good. I wish I could hire this guy. I have to be careful. So the fighting scenes are actually good. So Valeria says to Bêlit, hey, you were the one said, make it look real. My disconnect, spending time with the orbit of your pelvis was throwing me off balance. Flaxen whore, she says. And so more talking, but Bêlit doesn't take that very well. She kicks her ass. But then, so it seems that they need to get closer to this necromancer, right? The guy from the beginning. And so she says, you need to slow it down. Your Hackenite sex appeal surely piqued Rafe's interest more than you said attempt to best me. We're losing him, you idiot. But then Valeria does this. And actually, I didn't see this coming. That was actually a nice surprise. Valeria kicks Bêlit's ass. I don't know, she's probably a broken nose. And she says, go now, love. Frolic freely along your coast if your dreams will so. You will thank me later when you awaken. All right, I did see that coming. And then she goes to this necromancer and, she's trying to flirt with him. Win is over and he's, going along with that and, try to, getting good graces with him. And, but Bêlit is now taken away somewhere, right? Now we are being bombarded with this. Oh my God, there's so much text on screen. And like I said before, I don't mind this if the writer decides to throw something different. But it seems that everyone is Socrates. They're all poets. They all talk like they are from the university in the 14th century and they have the highest grades ever, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, even this barbarian speaks in a tone that I think, hey, man, that's not how Conan talks. That's not how a barbarian talked, right? Cimmerians are not known for well-sophisticated, word salads, if you know what I mean. They are just freaking barbarians. Now, I'm not saying there couldn't be any barbarians that are smart, but it's like I said, everyone is a very educated guy in this barbarian world. That makes no freaking sense. So I'm gonna skip all of this dialogue here because it's too tiring to read it, and it took me a long time to get all this through this because probably 90% is what is on screen. It's totally nonsense. Doesn't have anything to do with moving the story, but more like, hey, look how awesome I am. Look what we did here, and how great we are, and sex and death and magic and all that stuff. Now I have to be careful now. So next page will be nudity. So I have to yes. So yeah, they are. He's very fond of her, and he says, "Hey, undress, and we're gonna do some humping and bumping." That's not what it says here, but that's what I make it. And but then he says Valeria, and Valeria says, "Hey, how do you know my name?" And then tan tan tan, he knew all along, and he knew about how do you say Bêlit's resurrection, and also boasting why I have to formulate this good in my head. something about, a good wizard knows what's going on in the future, and then they are not dumb as they seem, or something like that in that veins. But there's a lot of words in here, right? A lot of words. And then we end that Bêlit is here, and he says, bring him out, bring him out. And then she says, what are you doing? And she says, she's cursing them, and she says, you don't get it. You don't know who I am. And then she says, I'm going to kill every one of you. But then, oh no, something big is coming. And they feed it. And she says, I'm not ready this time, to die, I guess. And then, oh no, it's a big spider monkey. And I listen to the next issue. Oh my God, it was so tiresome to read. Again, art looks phenomenal. Facial expressions, phenomenal. Coloring, awesome. I've seen better, but it's good for this case. But lighting, perfect, right? But it seems that the writer wants to write this in comic form. It does not work. I have to be careful not to show it. Okay, so if you see this, a lot of words, and then we have a cool fighting scene. I like that, with not much words, but still a lot of words, right? And even if they fight, they are using some kind of a terminology in here that is said, God, stop it. Stop with the explanations and word salads, and I'm using that word a lot, and talking, and well, except here, but more talking, it's exhausting. It's really exhausting, right? You can tell the story in probably half of the amount of letters that is in here. Now, I'm not sure why the writer choose to do that, use so many. I mean, if I want to read a book, I read a fucking book, This is literature, right? This is some pages of Robert E. Howard. It's not really necessary to put it in a fucking comic, dude. Man, I was losing the plot completely, because if I had read this, I just completely noped out. Now, you can say, well, Marinus, you're maybe some kind of a unsophisticated monkey, and you don't understand literature and what the writer tries to tell you. I know exactly what he tries to tell me, but dude, this is the Hyperborean age. It's not that complicated. Woman gets resurrected, woman gets revenge, there's some fighting bits, there is some killing bits, there is maybe some nudity here and there. It's not that complicated, right? The end goal is to get information of said necromancer, or maybe even kill him. I'm not entirely sure. You don't need to tell me all this junk of words in one page. And this is only one page, and this book is probably half littered with this BS that is not even important to the story. It's very tiresome. So we're going to do this again in a couple of weeks. And I'm probably going to tell you the same thing. Again, I hope not, but since this I presume the same writer is on this book, we're gonna do this all over again. Guys, so I'm lost for words. Now I am lost for words. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.